Palm reading of a lady whose age is 40 years old. We are reading her hand. Here, I would try to point out important aspects of the palm. Whenever we are starting to give a palm reading, we should first look at the hand structure. By the hand structure, we basically mean the bone structure in the fingers and the palm and basically the skin covering over this particular fingers as well as the palm. So whenever we find that the fingers are strong, like the bone structure in the finger is strong, and there's reasonably good padding over the fingers as well as the palm, I normally categorize it to be a much better indication compared to if a person has got a feeble hand, a weak hand. A weak hand signifies weakness in every aspect of your life, and a strong structured hand basically means strength in every aspect of your life. Like the way we basically say is that if the hand structure is good, it is something like a strong building with a strong foundation, strong beams, and at the same time, strong pillars as well. So, if the building is built on a strong foundation, the chances are that the building is not going to fall down. So, this is the most important aspect of the palm. And to have a stronger hand is always better than a weaker kind of a hand, weaker structured hand. For a female, we should start to look at the left hand first. But at the same time, in my practical experience, I found that for male as well as female, we should give more importance to the right hand. But the traditional palmistry says that we should look at the left hand for the female and the right hand for the male. Now, what is different about, most of the times, what also happens is that the left hand as well as the right hand, they show similarities. So it doesn't matter if we are reading the left hand or the right hand, it doesn't matter much. But in this case, what is the different part? I'm just talking about what is different that I see on this particular palm. Every person has got a headline, every person has got a heartline, somewhat similar, and every person has got a lifeline and a money line. This is a very, very common line that a person may have. But in this case, what is very different is this particular line that is leaning outward. Now, this particular line that you see that is leaning outwards is a little bit kind of a different line. I'm just going to remove all the lines so that I can pinpoint this particular line once again. This is the line that we are referring to. Now, there's a confusion. Should I consider this line to be a parallel line to the headline? This is the headline. Should I consider it to be that? Or should I just consider this line to be something like the lifeline? This is the lifeline, and outward movement of the lifeline. So there are two different meanings attached to it. The first meaning is that let's consider this is the headline and this is another headline. So when a person does have two headlines, it means two independent thought processes that the person may have. Double headline also brings strength to your mind, strength to your thought process. Uh, but I would not say that a single headline is bad and double headline is better. So the reason being, some people might say, no, having two headlines brings much more mental strength. To some extent, it may be considered to be a positive sign, but not always a positive sign. Because when we are correlating with other people, we are talking with different people, associating with different people. If we have a very strong head, then the chances are we wouldn't be able to mingle with those people in a much more easier way. So it's always better to have a simpler kind of a line instead of a complicated kind of a line. And this particular line, if a person does have two headlines, it may also bring about more of aggression and anger as well. It is something like we have got two headlines of the head. Our head would, our thought process, our thinking, our head is never willing to get defeated by the other person's head. So this is a different way of looking at the headline. Now consider it to be another. I've mentioned two things. Consider this line to be another headline, or consider it to be a branch of the lifeline. This is the lifeline, a branch that is moving outward. Any line moving outward from the main line is considered to be a negative line. These upward lines that you see out here, these are lines that are joining into the main lifeline. So these lines are considered to be good lines. It consider it in a different way. Let's take it lifeline to be a river. Another line joining into the main river is basically addition that is coming, another tributary joining into the main river. A line that is moving outwards from the main line is something like a tributary that is moving outward from your life. So that is the reason why we would say that it is considered to be a little bit of a negative kind of indication. Now, I would just point out few other things that I see on this particular palm. Everybody wants to know about money aspect in their palm. To see the money aspect, we would first take a look at the money line. Uh, this is the money line that we are referring to. It kind of ends out here. Another line basically develops, and that basically continues and ends somewhere before it touches the headline. This is the headline, and before it touches the headline, the main money line is ending. So it is ending out here. So this age is approximately 33. Then another line basically starts to develop, and that basically continues and almost touches the heartline and crosses the heartline as well. So the time when the line starts is around the age of, if this intersection of the money and the headline is age 35, this point is age 33. So this point where the new money line had started is going to be around the age of, let's say, 30. That's the approximate, I would say. And that basically continues, crosses the headline, and then touches the heartline and moves a little bit ahead as well. So it ends at the age of 50, 55. That's the approximate age. Then few other lines also develop somewhere before the line ends, and it starts somewhere close to the age of, let's say, if this intersection is age 53, so it starts at around the age of 46 approximately, and that basically continues maybe even after the age of 53. So this is how we calculate the age on the money line. Now the money line that starts closer to the lifeline is help that the person may get from their family members. The line basically that starts outward on the Mount of Moon. This is the area of Mount of Moon. It means money that the person may gain from public appreciation, trading activities, service industry. So those are the, and from foreign countries or from foreigners. In foreigners, it could be male or female, and people living in the same country, it could be the male members, the benefits coming from them. And it could also relate to trading activity or service industry. You may not be like going out of your country to work, but you may be living in your home country, but benefits may come to you from uh, opposite sex and foreigners. So those are the likely benefits that the person may receive. So this is also starting on the amount of moon, and the new line also starts pointing towards the amount of moon. So both are basically kind of somewhat similar. I'm just going to zoom in into the image so that we can see things much more clearly. So the main line that starts around the age of 30, it basically kind of ends on the headline, and a new line basically starts that we could not see because the image was not zoomed. So this is what we see out here. There's a break on the headline. The money line is breaking. So whenever there's a break on the money line, there are many other meanings also attached to a break apart from the finances. The first indication that we would say for anybody with a break in the money line, we would say a change in finances. The first thing is change in finances. It could mean job loss, work loss, business loss. The first thing could be that. The second thing could be the main earning member of the family, their health or wealth goes down. So more responsibility falls onto this particular person's head due to the break in the money line. And the third could be sometimes our personal life can also get disturbed. And due to disturbances in our personal life, what's going to happen is that our finances also get affected. So, any one of these basically things can get applied in this particular person's, this lady's case as well, whose age is 40 years old. So, this is what we can see on the money line. Now we would just take a look at the sun line as well. Sun line is known as the carrier line. This is the sun line that you see out here. This could also be referred to with the sun line, any line moving towards the sun mount. This is the sun finger, this is the ring finger, so this is called the, and this is the sun mount that I've just drawn. So these are multiple sun lines that you see out here. These could also be referred to as sun line. Now, some people refer to the sun line to be the name and fame line. Some people refer it to be as the luck line, and some people say that this is your career line. So different words attached to it, but all of them basically indicate to how good our career is going to be in our life. The thing is that it is not necessary to have a sun line. The timings I would just draw out here. So this is the, let's just draw the sun line. This is the headline and this is the heart line. So the intersection out here is age 35 on the sun and the head. Intersection of the heart and the sun line is age 53. This is 53 and beyond. This is 35 to 53. And this is before the age of 35. Now the thing is that the quality of the sun line is not so good. It is the reason why I say it is not so good is because it is not very deep and clear. The line is present, but it is lacking in depth. It becomes a little bit better after the age of 35, but still it is not so clear. The basically the reason attached to it is when the line is not very clear, it is basically having doubts and self doubt. Presence of the line would certainly give a person success. I won't deny that. But clarity of the line basically brings much more success compared to lack of clarity. Imagine a situation you are driving a car and if your path is not clear, if the road isn't clear, if there are clouds in front of the on the road and you're not able to see the road very clearly, you have to basically drive the car at a very slow speed. So it basically means lack of clarity as to what we want to do in our life. If there was no line at all, absence of the line sometimes is considered to be an excellent sign because that would mean absolute clarity as to the path that we are traveling on. So that is considered to be much better compared to having a dim kind of a line. Dim line basically increases doubts and self-doubt. Clarity in the line basically brings much more clarity in one's life. The quality of the line becomes much more clearer after the age of 53. So this is much better portion. I'll just take a look at the right hand as well so that we can correlate. This is the right hand. And in this case, what we find is that the quality of the sunline, if this point is age 35 on the sunline, this age is 53. So this particular line that we are referring to, this becomes much more clearer. So consider the timing. Let's basically consider the time. If this is age 35, this is age 53 on the sunline. So the middle part is going to be age 44. So that's when the sunline becomes, a new sunline develops and there's much more clarity in the sunline, and a much more deep and clear sunline signifies much more clarity that is coming into your life. And once there is much more clarity in your life, the chances for success increase because of the clarity that you're having. Uh, and because you have got much more clarity, you become much more successful, you get more name and fame. And people, you may think that I'm lucky, but it's not luck. It is your own clarity that is bringing you much more success compared to just calling it as just the luck line. So, and I should add out here that we should not consider that, see, some people think that money and name and fame, all these things are just seen on the money line and the sun line. I would say no, each and every line in some way or the other can talk about your success. Every possible line in your hand can talk about your success or the failure in your life. So we should consider each and every line to arrive at the conclusion. Now we will take a look at the headline. Now, the headline, I just point out uh, the this point I would mention. This is the age 35. So this portion of the headline is before the age of 35. This portion of the headline is after the age of 35. So this is how we calculate. So in the initial phase of the headline, you would notice that the headline is a little bit pointing towards the first mount, the first finger. This is the first finger, the pointing finger. And this is the finger of Jupiter. Jupiter, in geography, you must have read what is Jupiter. Jupiter is the biggest planet. Biggest planet basically means growth, expansion, honor, respect in your life. Expansion and honor in your life. This is what it means. And if the headline points towards the area of Jupiter, it is certainly considered to be a very, very positive indication. And this line also can be seen as a positive indication. This particular line that you see is kind of joining the lifeline. So if it joins the lifeline, that means you're seeking the qualities of Jupiter. These are the Jupiter qualities. You're seeking those qualities in your life. If it joins the headline out here, pointing from the Jupiter, it means our mind is seeking honor because it is joining the headline. Although this portion of the headline is the earlier portion of your life before the age of 1920, but the effect of these particular aspects remain throughout our life and not necessarily for 1 or 2 or 3 years. So this is my conclusion. Other thing is that there's also a line that is line kind of leaning inward from inwards and joining the headline. Now, it's always better to have a very, very simple kind of a headline. Simple headline brings much more clarity, simplistic in thought process, and much more being at ease with ourselves. But what is different out here is that the line is leaning from inwards, from inside the line. This is the lifeline. So it is leaning from inside the lifeline and joining the headline. And this area that we are referring to is the area of Mars negative area. This is the area of Mars negative. Now, Mars negative is the area of anger, aggression, and fire. And if the headline moves from inside and joins the headline, it means anger is entering your head. So this portion is before the age of 35. So all these things are happening before the age of 35. So anger and aggression, if they enter your head, means when we are angry, the chances of taking the right decisions decrease because when we are angry, we can't think in a sane way, in a simplistic way. And when we are angry, we are likely to take wrong decisions because the anger is not letting us apply our mind. So that's the reason why having these particular lines is considered to be kind of negative. So they are there in the earlier portion, let's say from the age of 20, 21, 22, and onwards also it basically continues. 2 or 3 lines basically continues. And at the same time, this particular area that we are seeing out here is a little bit unclear. It appears to be an island. If there is an island, then it's I can't say it very clearly if it's an island or not. Island is basically considered to be a negative sign, specifically if it is under the Saturn finger. And Saturn finger is the area for depression, depressive tendencies if you have got an island out here. on the headline. So that's basically considered to be a negative sign. Uh, so lines aren't very too much clear before the age of 35, and even after the age of 35 also, it does appear that the line of head is appearing to be kind of breaking out here. So if this age 35, so it is kind of ending out here, and a new line is again originating and pointing from the area towards the area for Mars negative and joining out here. So even after the age of 35 as well, some of these basically qualities do remain. Break on the headline sometimes means abrupt ending in our thought process. The way we think, basically there's an end to that, and we start to think in a different way. So that's the considered to be a little bit kind of a negative sign if we have this kind of a break on the line of head. Now after that, after let's say from the age of 40 or so, things become much more clearer, much more simple. So that's basically considered to be a better sign to have a simplistic kind of the heart line. So this is what we see in the left hand. I will just take a look at the right hand as well, so that we can correlate as to what things are happening. The similar indications can be seen on the headline before the age of 35 as well. There are a few breaks and all. There's a break on the money line as well. The line aren't so very clear even after the age of 35 for a few years, but after that, towards the end, the line kind of branches out. A line that branches out kind of makes a person a genius. The reason why we say a person is a genius is because if the headline, like imagine a situation, a headline starts here and ends in a simple way. So it means our thought process is uh, angling towards only one particular direction and is having a limited field of thought process. This is what has limited field of thought processes. But if the headline is kind of branching out into two, you see they are branching out into two, it means our thought process is widened. We can think in many different aspects. So that's the reason why this is always considered to be a good sign to have. And this is more towards the later portion of your life, the life that maybe after the age of 44 or so. So that aspect basically gets applied much more. In the right hand also, similar indication are there that the main money line is kind of ending on and before the headline. So these events are happening around the age of, let's say, 33, 34. That's when it ends. But before it ends, around the age of 31 or so, a very solid, simple, deep and clear line that you see on this particular hand. And a simple, deep and clear line is much, much better. It brings much more stability in your life. And stability not in only the finances, but other aspects of your life, even your personal life and other aspects, even your thought process and your feelings. It solidifies everything, because money is a binding force, and if you have got a good money, solid money line, it certainly would help in your life. And it is a good sign, I would say, to have a very simple, deep and clear money line that brings much more stability in one's life. To be able to make money, we should have few other indications as well. And if those indications are good, the chances and the probability of making much more money increases. We would look first at the Mercury area. Mercury is one of the most important planets for money, although the Saturn area is referred to be the planet for money. But to get money, you need to have a good Mercury, and Mercury is the area for intelligence, knowledge, skill, calculations, and communication. So a person who has got these kind of perpendicular lines that you see out here, one line, two line, three, four, five, probably this as well. So weaker lines, weaker and dim lines we can ignore, but still I've drawn those lines as well. So the book of palmistry says that if you have these kind of lines, the person could be a good doctor. But in my case, whenever I'm looking at these particular kind of formation of lines, I would say that person could be a doctor, may not be a doctor, may have got some kind of healing touch with them. So this is healing touch as well. Some people may not even have a healing touch as well. That could also be true. So what basically I kind of conclude with these particular lines is that one line basically means one set of skill, two lines means two skills, and multiple lines means multiple set of skills that a person may have in their life. The good part is that on the right hand, the lines are not crisscrossing each other. Some people, they may have crisscrossing lines. Crisscrossing kind of lines are considered to be bad sign. I'm just telling you the meaning so that you actually know how good these particular lines are, what these lines are basically meaning, the real sense. If there are too many crisscrossing lines, it would mean miscalculations and miscommunication. A person who miscalculates wouldn't be successful. A person who miscommunicates is also not going to be successful. Now, this area is referred to be the area for networking skills, mathematical skills, statistical skill, communication, engineering, medical science, everything, psychology, everything basically. This area is the most important area of our, this area is also known for the consulting as well. And the computer science as well is also referred to this particular Mercury area. So Mercury area is a very, very important area. We are living in an Aquarian age. This is the Aquarian age, which is for thousands of years. And in an Aquarian, and the planet for Aquarius is Mercury. So Mercury is a very important planet in present times. So a person who has got a good Mercury is likely to be more successful. Now, to look at the money aspect, because this is every person has this kind of a question. To have money, apart from having a good money line, you should also have an excellent heart line. Okay, the heart line plays a major role. The quality as such of the heart line may not be the best, uh, but certainly it has got few good aspects as well. The simplest, a very simple kind of a heart line is always better. Very simple, without any branches. You notice there are few branches out here, branches. But these branches are not very strong kind of branches. Very. Some people, they may have got a very strong leaning downwards kind of branches. Those are very negative kind of lines. But these branches are very small branches. Small branches have got small negative impact. Bigger branches would have got much more greater negative impact. It is something like, if this is your heart line, it is something like a branch hanging downwards to your physical heart, and it would strain your heart, it would pull your heart downwards. But having these smaller branches is still manageable. So don't worry too much about these smaller branches, but these branches basically means getting distracted, falling for temptation. It basically means being flirtatious, not being able to commit ourselves completely to one thing and one thing completely, not being able to dedicate ourselves completely. So that's the reason why it is not a perfect line, but yet I would say it has got a very good indication, and that is the main line is kind of leaning upward and pointing towards the finger. This is the best possible sign. So even if there are few disappointments in the relation, these could be disappointment, a little bit kind of a disappointment. But the upward movement of the heart line means upliftment of the heart. Like in general, people are going to be good to you, and they are going to uplift your life either financially or otherwise as well. And the heart line that ends purely on the Mount of Saturn, this is where it is ending, is considered to be an excellent sign, because the heart line ending on the Mount of Saturn means that the person values money, respects money. And a person who respects money, values money, is a person who would be able to make much more money in their life. So this is the best possible aspect a person can have. Most businessmen have this kind of an indication. This could mean materialism. It could mean a person is materialistic, but see, we are living in a material world, so it's okay to be. If somebody says you are materialistic, it is all fine. Although some people consider and people don't like to be called a materialistic person, but I would say it is a much better sign. And even after being much more materialistic, these people are able to help others much more. Although when you are in your profession, you wouldn't want anything to be given for free, but you may make good amount of money, you may accumulate good amount of money, because Saturn is all about accumulation of money. So this person would certainly accumulate good amount of money in their life, and they would want to invest their money, and they value money, they value each and every paisa. And they say that whatever the services that we are giving, we should get something out of it. So this is what it is. And having a shorter heart line also means this is a short heart line. Some people, they may have got a long heart line. Longer heart line becomes much more possessive, but you are not a possessive person. You're basically more of a realistic and a grounded person, because Saturn is also being grounded, knowing the ground situations very well. So this is what basically you are. And the reason is that people who are grounded, they know what things are going to work and what things are not going to work. And you are not a very, very emotional kind of a person. A person who has got a long heart line are the ones who are much more emotional, sensitive, idealistic kind of people. And they get very touchy about things, and they get very hurt very easily. But in this case, you don't have got a heart line, you have got a shorter heart line, but towards the end, it is curving something like this. So curvature in the heart line may make you appear to be emotional, but you are not an emotional person. It basically means being temperamental. It means being expressive with your emotions. It basically means a person who can't keep their emotions in check, and they're just expressive with their emotions. So this is what basically it is indicated by the curvature in the heart line. And a shorter heart line basically means that you won't have those kind of emotional kind of too much of emotional kind of a disappointment. You're very grounded, and you know how things basically work in your life. And one or two good lines I would just point out. This is the good line that I see, although if they were much more deeper and darker, these lines that originate on the Mount of Jupiter and join the lifeline or the headline, it could also bring much more spirituality. A person could move towards spirituality. Spirituality is a subjective word, so while discussing with you, I would talk about it, but this could mean moving, like a person who reaches a higher position in their life, a respectful position, a position of honor, respect, honor, and position and power. In the right hand, also similar kind of indication can be seen that the sunline is a little bit dim in the earlier portion, and as it approaches the age of 44, it becomes darkens. Then a new line develops at the age of 44. That continues till the age of, let's say, 58 or so. Then another line develops out. This is also deep and clear. It's good line. Another line is there around the age of 44. This is also the sun line. And another line is, which is also reasonably deep and clear. So all of these lines are deep and clear kind of lines that are considered to be good indication. One more line I would just point out before I end the video, and that is somewhere in the middle out here, between the Saturn mount and the Sun mount. This is the line that we are referring to. Now, some people told me some about this particular line. Some palmists, they told me that this refers to education bringing you benefits. Now, this is a very casual statement. Everybody would say, "Oh, education does bring benefits." Yes, I do agree and do admit. But this could have to do with uh, some informal or formal education that may appear to be very small in the initial years of your life. They would become much more prominent as you basically grow older. So this could have to do with that. Anything you may have learned in the earlier portion may get applied in your life in a big way. Towards the end, the line is sunline is also kind of branching out something like this, having a V-like portion pointing towards the finger is also considered to be good. The reason I say it's good is because energy penetrate the finger, energy, current, or light is penetrating the fingers, and they move inwards and they enter your life, and they enter your palm, they enter your life, and kind of get accumulated out there. So this portion becomes a significant portion. This is around 60, I would say. That's when this formation is there. Even a simple line, I would say, even a simple something like this is reasonably good. So it doesn't matter to have a V or a Y or something like this pointing towards the other. Even these are good enough kind of indications that we see. The length of the Mercury finger is also appearing to be long. It is also almost crossing the top line of the ring finger. It's a positive indication. Kind of points towards it kind of points towards good ability to communicate and put your point across to people who are nearby, the relatives and the family members, as well as people who are far away. So for all of them, it is considered to be a good sign. The mount of Venus is appearing to be reasonably well padded. I just take a look at the other hand. Venus is the area for grace and beauty, energy and stamina. So this is reasonably well padded, so good amount of energy levels. There are many lines out here on the area for Mars, negative area crisscrossing kind of lines, although they are not very, very prominent kind of lines, but yet I will just explain the meaning. Too many crisscrossing lines basically kind of overworks a particular mount. And this is the area for Mars negative, this is the area for anger aggression. So we may get aggressive unnecessarily. And this backward movement of the headline could mean to relate to fights. I've already mentioned anger and aggression, and sometimes it could be purely simple in a very, very simple way. Simple anger and aggression, and sometimes it can become big. And when it becomes big, it may take a person to police case or these kind of things that may come in your life. So it's not 100% that these things do affect you, but I'm just mentioning that we can't quantify how big the problem can be. We can only say that anger. So if you are able to control your anger, it doesn't affect you. If you're unable to control anger, then it may affect you in a negative way. And I would just take a last look before I end the video. And I think that's it. Towards the end, the